Hello YouTube, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Today I got some videos to react to, which is ICE arresting illegal migrants that are committing crimes. So let's go ahead and dive right into it.
To a man who was riding in a construction truck with one of the men who was arrested last week. He says ICE pulled him over and then took his colleague into custody. We spoke to him by phone, and he asked we conceal his identity. He says ICE agents seemed focused on residents from a particular building. ICE says his 22-year-old co-worker was arrested for entering the country illegally back in 2019.
I was not aware of his immigration status or issues, and when they told me that they were going to take him out, of course I got really upset. It's kind of a shame that they're stopping people that are just trying to go to work, as he was.
President Trump has said his plan for mass deportation would focus first on violent offenders and gang members. As one ICE leader put it, quote, the worst go first. But immigration advocates say it's becoming clear with the recent arrests that ICE is not limiting who it's targeting.
I think one thing that has been clear, Julie, is that all immigrants are now an enforcement priority or a removal priority. That was always different under other administrations.
Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem went along as federal agents conducted an overnight roundup in the Bronx, and CBS News went with them.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, says the search for immigrants in the country illegally led to 969 arrests today nationwide.
Major Garrett was in the Bronx.
Just after 3 a.m., we were making our way to downtown Manhattan to begin briefings on ICE actions to come this morning.
Inside the ICE field office in Manhattan, the ranks are enlarged by other agencies now ordered by the Trump administration to gear up for immigration sweeps.
There's also secondary address.
The plan, multiple pre-dawn raids targeting undocumented immigrants with criminal records. The charges range from murder to theft to kidnapping.
We are going to take every precaution when we're trying to apprehend these folks.
Today, they are joined by newly confirmed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
Be safe out there.
The goal, 500 arrests over a week-long operation in New York. In a Bronx parking lot, a final huddle.
Target today is Anderson Pacheco, Venezuelan national. He's wanted out of Colorado on multiple felony warrants.
A suspected gang member with warrants for kidnapping, burglary, and a gun crime, authorities told us. Around 5:30 a.m., heavily armed agents raid this apartment building and find the suspect and 3 other male associates, all handcuffed and without incident.
Also there in the residence, 3 children, their immigration status unknown. And now a check to see if they have a caregiver or if Child Protective Services needs to be brought in.
The next stop, a residence less than 2 miles away. After some negotiation, the officers make their way inside, but come up empty.
The targets were not home. No arrests, no detentions.
Federal law enforcement is working with limited help from New York City police because of the city's laws protecting undocumented immigrants.
Some might say, isn't New York a sanctuary city? But you said the mayor's been cooperative?
The mayor's been fantastic. In fact, I talked to him on the phone probably 4 or 5 times last night. One of these individuals was so dangerous that we needed the backup of the NYPD to be there in case things went south.
Today's Bronx operation required around 36 law enforcement, yielding a handful of arrests.
Is that a ratio you're comfortable with?
It is, absolutely. I won't doubt what they need for support and backup. Are you aware you're in violation of our laws?
You want cameras at these events, don't you? And some would say you want this spectacle to be filmed.
It's not a spectacle. This is our nation's law enforcement judicial process. The scales of justice are equally applied to everybody. We want transparency on this.
Vice President J.D. Vance has suggested deporting 1 million people a year could be possible, roughly quadruple the number under President Biden last fiscal year.
1 million people a year, it's a lot of people to deport. Who's going to do those? I get it when they deporting the criminals, but what about those people that are not criminals, that are doing jobs that Americans don't want to do? That's my only concern.
Will you have the person power you need?
And now to an exclusive look at ICE operations in Houston. Fox's Brooke Taylor did a ride along with agents and gives us a first-hand look at the immigration crackdown.
ICE officers have a list with thousands of illegal migrants. They go through this target list, they filter it out, conduct surveillance. Sometimes it takes days, and then they have to wait for the perfect moment to make an arrest, and they want to do this in a safe way so that everyone in the community does not get harmed.
Right now, we have eyes on the target's house. It's fair game to say that he will be moving soon.
Fox News exclusively embeds with ICE enforcement and removal operations officers in Houston, getting an inside look as officers strategize their targets for the day.
Let's do it, gentlemen. Stay safe.
The first target, an illegal migrant who officers have been watching for days.
Target's coming out the house.
According to ICE, he's from Mexico and was previously removed from the U.S. after being convicted of alien smuggling.
For the worst of the worst, the gang members, the violent criminals, things of that nature. That's what we're all focused on.
Next on the target list, an illegal migrant from El Salvador who has already been deported from the U.S. twice.
Let me see the order or something, because I don't know.
According to ICE, he has a criminal conviction for indecency and exposure to a child.
Well, we're not looking to go out there and scare or terrorize the communities. We're looking to make these communities safer. These folks, criminals like this individual here, they're victimizing those same communities. Nobody wants those folks in our communities.
On the same day, FBI Houston arrested 2 suspects linked to the Tren Aragua gang. ERO agents collaborating more than ever with federal agencies like HSI, ATF, CBP, and the FBI, with a renewed focus on targeting illegal criminal aliens.
They go out here and they put their lives on the line every day doing this work. It's nice sometimes to stop and reflect on what have you prevented? How many people have you kept from being victimized because we've taken these folks not only off the streets, but out of the country.
That was Brooke Taylor reporting. ICE says because there is more of a priority now, they are able to make more arrests.
We've been following the latest news reports and wanted to give you a heads up. Recently, some people attending routine immigration check-ins or court dates have been taken into custody. We know this is concerning, so let's talk about what's happening and what you can do to protect yourself. First, ICE is conducting arrests at ICE check-ins and at courthouses. What we know is that they are detaining people who already have a removal order issued against them. If you have a removal order issued against you, you are at higher risk of being detained. If you don't have a removal order issued against you, the risk is lower. Second, people who have criminal convictions are also at higher risk of being detained and even losing your legal permanent resident status. If you have a criminal conviction on your record, regardless if it's a misdemeanor or a felony, and maybe it hasn't affected you in the past, you should know that it is possible that it will affect you now. We are seeing more reports that clients with legal permanent resident status who are traveling in and out of the country are being sent to ICE check-ins for those criminal convictions. If this is something that's worrying you, we have a couple ways that we're able to help you. First, we can assess your options for post-conviction relief to clean your criminal record. Second, we can look into whether you're eligible to apply for citizenship so you're not at risk of losing your status. Let us help you. Give us a call or send us a DM to schedule your free consultation today.
Now, this is heartbreaking. This man is being arrested in front of his kids and his family, and but I get it. Don't break the law, you know. But it's still heartbreaking.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
ICE Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities. Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
And guys, shortly after we finished filming, ICE Boston told us they arrested 2 more targets in other parts of town away from our cameras. One of those targets is a previously deported Honduran illegal alien who was arrested for raping a woman while putting a gun in her mouth. The other target they got is a Haitian man who first flew into the United States in 2023 as part of President Biden's controversial migrant flights mass parole program. Well, they just picked him up yesterday because he's been arrested locally for sexual assault. We'll send it back to you.
Bill Malugin, it was fascinating to watch all of that. I think I was just saying to Bill, this is terrible for Joe Biden and the legacy that he tried to leave behind. A question from me, how soon will they actually be leaving the country? Does that take a long time?
It depends what country they're from. If they're from cooperable countries like El Salvador, Guatemala, countries like that, it can be quick. It can be within days or weeks. If it's countries that are harder to deport, countries that don't cooperate with the U.S. as much, it can go into a process of months. But the Trump administration is changing policies with something called expedited removal. The bottom line is people at home don't need to understand all the policies. The Trump administration is just going to work as fast as they can to get all the people you just saw on camera there out of the country as fast as possible. They're also going to use their State Department, now led by Marco Rubio, to put pressure on countries that don't cooperate with the U.S. as much when it comes to those deportations.
Bill, just two points of clarification here. It seems a lot of these crimes are associated with sex crimes. I'm just looking at the list a bit earlier today. I don't know if that generally is the case or not. And second, if Boston's a sanctuary city, how are they allowed to do this? Because we told there would be resistance.
Boston doesn't have to cooperate with ICE, but there's nothing they can do to stop ICE from coming into their city and enforcing the law. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. And that's the point ICE makes to us is, look, they don't have to cooperate with our detainer requests. They don't have to tell our officers when they're releasing somebody from jail. But we're going to do our job. We have our intel guys out in the field. We have people with eyes all over the place, and we're going to snatch those guys. So they can make ICE's job more difficult, longer, and more dangerous, but it's not going to stop ICE from doing the job, guys. The bottom line is ICE says it's safer for everybody involved if locals would just hand these guys over in jail once they're arrested, but they don't. They let them out onto the streets. They don't tell ICE about it, so ICE has to spend a lot of resources gathering intel, finding these guys, and then going out into the community to do arrests, which could be dangerous. You saw that combative Haitian man, and then you saw in the case of that one MS-13 member, his friend got snagged. They weren't even looking for him. They were looking for the MS-13 guy. They picked him up because a sanctuary jurisdiction released the MS-13 guy. ICE found him and then found the guy who was in the apartment with. They found out he was an illegal alien as well. So now he's going to be deported too.
Wow.
Amazing. Bill Malugin, thank you so much. More to come on that.
Thank you, Bill.
A Florida middle school science teacher who has lived in the U.S. since childhood has been detained by ICE amid President Trump's ongoing crackdown on illegal immigration. The teacher, a DACA recipient, was arrested at an immigration hearing, setting off a wave of anxiety within the Miami-Dade Public Schools District, which serves a large immigrant population. The incident comes after a memo was sent to principals within the district, urging awareness of recent changes in immigration policy and emphasizing the importance of protecting student records under federal law. The arrest has sparked fear within the community, particularly among immigrant families who are now hesitant to send their children to school due to the increased presence of ICE agents. As one teacher put it, "We are their allies, and we care deeply about their kids. These are our babies too." Carla Hernandez-Matz, president of the United Teachers of Dade Union, expressed her shock. "This is really shocking to kids. They're thinking if it can happen to my teacher, it can happen to anyone in my family." With raids becoming more common, the tension in Miami-Dade is palpable. Share your thoughts with us. Stay tuned for updates as this story unfolds.
ICE Boston just announcing they arrested this Guatemalan illegal alien, charged in Massachusetts with 3 counts of aggravated child rape and 3 counts of forcible rape of a child. So the question is, why was he on the streets, right? Well, ICE says their detainer request on him was ignored by the Essex County Superior Court due to sanctuary policy. The locals released him into the community on bail without any notice to ICE. In a statement, the director of ICE Boston says in part, quote, "Jose Fernando Perez has been charged with some horrific crimes against a minor in our Commonwealth. He is exactly the type of alien we are targeting with our worst first policy. He posed a significant danger to the children of Massachusetts, and we will not tolerate such a threat to our community." ICE Boston also announcing the arrest of this Turkish illegal alien charged in Massachusetts with assault and battery against an intellectually disabled person and witness intimidation. But ICE says their detainer on him was also ignored by the sanctuary city of Somerville. He had also been released into the public. Elsewhere around the U.S., ICE Seattle arrested this Salvadoran illegal alien wanted in his home country for aggravated homicide. Here in Los Angeles, ICE arrested this Guatemalan illegal alien charged with sexual assault and rape with a gun. And in Colorado, the DEA announced their top 10 arrests of illegal immigrants in recent days, including several affiliated with Tren de Aragua and others with egregious crimes like kidnapping, child sexual assault, and fentanyl.
Well, just as President Trump promised, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, began targeted arrest operations in Metro Atlanta over the weekend. The Department of Homeland Security says those arrested have criminal backgrounds. ICE didn't release specific arrest figures for the Atlanta area, but they did say in social media posts that on Sunday made 956 arrests nationally. Over the last few days, at least 6 mass deportation flights have been made from the U.S. to Mexico, Guatemala, and now Colombia. Download Fox Local for live streaming news and more.
Just after 3 a.m., we are making our way to downtown Manhattan to begin briefings on ICE actions to come this morning.
Inside the ICE field office in Manhattan, the ranks are enlarged by other agencies now ordered by the Trump administration to gear up for immigration sweeps.
There's also secondary address.
The plan? Multiple pre-dawn raids targeting undocumented immigrants with criminal records. The charges range from murder to theft to kidnapping.
We are going to take every precaution when we're trying to apprehend these folks.
Today, they are joined by newly confirmed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
Be safe out there.
The goal? 500 arrests over a week-long operation in New York. In a Bronx parking lot, a final huddle.
Target today is Anderson Pacheco, Venezuelan national. He's wanted out of Colorado on multiple felony warrants.
A suspected gang member with warrants for kidnapping, burglary, and a gun crime, authorities told us. Around 5:30 a.m., heavily armed agents raid this apartment building and find the suspect and 3 other male associates, all handcuffed and without incident.
Also there in the residence, 3 children, their immigration status unknown. And now a check to see if they have a caregiver or if Child Protective Services needs to be brought in.
The next stop, a residence less than 2 miles away. After some negotiation, the officers make their way inside, but come up empty.
The targets were not home. No arrests, no detentions.
Federal law enforcement is working with limited help from New York City police because of the city's laws protecting undocumented immigrants.
Some might say, isn't New York a sanctuary city? But you said the mayor's been cooperative.
The mayor's been fantastic. In fact, I talked to him on the phone probably 4 or 5 times last night. One of these individuals was so dangerous that we needed the backup of the NYPD to be there in case things went south.
Today's Bronx operation required around 36 law enforcement, yielding a handful of arrests.
Is that a ratio you're comfortable with?
It is, absolutely. I won't doubt what they need for support and backup. Are you aware you're in violation of our laws?
You want cameras at these events, don't you? And some would say you want this spectacle to be filmed.
It's not a spectacle. This is our nation's law enforcement judicial process. The scales of justice are equally applied to everybody. We want transparency on this.
Vice President J.D. Vance has suggested deporting 1 million people a year could be possible, roughly quadruple the number under President Biden last fiscal year.
Will you have the person power you need to carry out this initiative?
We're working on it.
It seems like you won't.
Well, we will have the personnel because we're going to continue to recruit and ask people to help us.
After you talk with the attorney and decide how you want to handle this case today, I'm going to have to take you into custody because ICE has given an order that we're supposed to take you into custody today. So I'm ordering you not to leave the courthouse. But I do want to at least give you the benefit of talking through your options with an attorney. I personally feel bad that we're going to have to take you into custody. That isn't my choice or decision, but it's something under federal law that I'm going to have to follow.
Las leyes federales requieren que cuando se emitió la orden de arresto en su contra, cuando usted falló en presentarse el 30 de diciembre, Inmigración y Aduanas quiere detenerle.
And I want to at least give you the chance to resolve this case today, if it can be resolved, so that it doesn't result in any future warrants or problems.
Thank you.
Well, don't thank me. I am sad.
An illegal immigrant from the Dominican Republic was arrested by ICE in Boston for beating up his pregnant wife to death in front of their child. And you're wondering, why was this person free in our communities? Well, he was paroled last month by the Massachusetts Parole Board. And because Massachusetts is a sanctuary state, when ICE put a detainer on him, they said no and released him in the community. You're wondering, who are these people protesting? Because this week we had a bunch of protests over the weekend in the United States in defense of these people and against Trump, against ICE. These are the people that you're advocating for. In Seattle, ICE arrested an illegal immigrant convicted of child rape. In Buffalo, ICE arrested an illegal immigrant on a terrorist watch list. Why was he free? I'll tell you why. Because under the Biden administration, ICE targeted arrests dropped 67%. Feel free to fact check me on that. In Los Angeles, ICE arrested an illegal immigrant who is an MS-13 member and another one who had warrants for murder from Mexico. In Seattle, ICE arrested an illegal in possession of fentanyl and a gun. In New Orleans, ICE arrested an illegal immigrant convicted of sex abuse and kidnapping. Let me say that again. An illegal immigrant convicted of sexual assault was free in our communities. In Atlanta, an illegal immigrant was arrested for assault on a woman, during which assault he fired a gun. In Boston, an illegal immigrant was arrested for manslaughter, and in Phoenix, ICE arrested an illegal immigrant who had not one, not two, but 3 DUIs. So the next time you see people protesting ICE, protesting Trump, saying that no human is illegal, these are the people that they are advocating for.
As an immigrant, I was outraged about what happened. ICE don't have no place in our city. Hate don't have no place in our city.
At first I was shocked. You know, I ain't really hear about ICE raids around here, more Texas, more California, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, they're stepping it up, so.
I was both on the positive side and negative side of the situation. I mean, it's life, so something's got to happen, I guess. But it was also messed up because I feel like people do deserve a chance to have freedom.
Shutting down businesses, especially ones that are a staple like this, don't do anything good for anybody. They hurt the economy. They hurt access to food.
Coming here and getting a job, which they was doing, then I understand why the government also did it if they was doing it illegally, you know, so.
It's sad that, you know, hopefully everybody could be allowed here that is here, even if you got here illegally or whatever happened to you, you know what I'm saying? You're here, you know, you might as well just work it out. But you know how stuff goes. So.
From a logistical standpoint, I don't understand the reasoning, and it feels very over the top and gross.
Overall, I feel like you should let them stay, if they want to stay.
My husband is Mauritanian. He sought asylum in the U.S. around 20 years ago. He escaped a genocide, so he was lucky to be granted asylum in America. And our children were born in America. We feel it's a safe country. We feel like any human being should be safe living in America.
It's a breath of fresh air to see that even in the face of such ridiculous hate like this, that there are still people that care a lot and will take action to show that they care.
I do get that people love, you know, I would want somebody to be on my side if they came and got me, you know, and if I was doing something right or wrong, I would still want some love from people.
Anyone should have a fair trial. Anyone is entitled to see a judge or have their cases processed, have a due process.
I spoke to a man who was.
Well, guys, this is the end of it. My thing is, for those that are not committing crimes, I think they should let them stay because they do jobs that Americans don't want to do. But those that are committing crimes definitely need to go. That's my take. Thanks, guys. Like and share, subscribe, and have a good night. Bye-bye.